challenging the other on their reality, challenging the other on their belief, in my opinion, doesn't work. Love them for where they are. Try to find out what they need from you. And then from there, in that compassionate place, gosh, Dr. Mo, I tend to interrupt. Could you help me with that? That's going to be a better place of working with the other.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Perpetual Motion Podcast, where self-care meets career excellence. I'm your host, Dr. Mo Anderson, and I invite you to join me on a journey of personal growth. In each weekly episode, we dive into inspiring and sometimes hilarious conversations with global experts. From communication mastery to wise investments, we've got you covered. My guest today is none other than Dr. Heather Browne, also known as the Reframe Queen. As a psychotherapist, TEDx speaker, and author, she helps people recognize the power of communication. Today, we're discussing the lies that destroy relationships and how to communicate with love and compassion. And y'all, I don't know anyone who cannot improve in those areas. So turn up the volume, lean back and listen up. And hey, if you're new to the show, please help us grow by hitting that subscribe button now. Welcome, Heather.
Oh, it is just an honor to be here, Dr. Mo. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to have you. I love the idea of reframing things. I hear that used a lot, but it's part of your brand. You're called the Reframe Queen. What a great title. Tell us why you're the Reframe Queen.
Well, I look at situations from both sides. You can look at it as the problem. You can look at it as helping you find a solution. You can look at something that's hurting you. You can look at what do you need to help you. Challenges have within them the possibility for an invitation or an exploration to something beyond. And so my viewpoint is, if this isn't working, then how can I look at this differently to change my outcome going forward? And so what I'll say in my sessions a lot is, well, let's look at this from the other side. Or how about we tweak this? Because my viewpoint is, if this is problematic, well, then what do I need to lay in or take out to move it beyond? You can always look at it from both ways. What's awful, what's about to change. And so people have just now called me the Reframe Queen, which I love because it really opens up that viewpoint. A yes to something is a no to something. And a no to something is a yes to something else. So darkness and light, there's a definition of each other within them. And so when you're aware of that, you can start to look at, well, then how can I use this to benefit me and what do I need to learn from this? That's all.
I love that. I love it. And it really is, that is a struggle. Even as an adult who talks about communication a lot in relationships, is looking at the other side because we get so entrenched in our beliefs and our experiences, and it's really damaging, harmful to relationships. So I'm anxious to hear more about that. But let's start with your personal story, as it's somewhat unique. You grew up living with a paranoid, schizophrenic parent, and you share that openly. What did you learn from that experience?
That no one has the same reality as somebody else. And we think we do. We think someone thinks the way we think or feels the way that we feel or believes the way that we believe. But it's our perception of it. And that's really as close as we can get. If I say to you, do you understand what I'm saying, Dr. Mo? You're probably going to say yes. And then I'm going to assume you understand what I'm saying, but I don't know. And we really don't have the ability to know that ever, which is odd. But when you really take that in, then you can move a little bit away from, I need you to understand my way, to, well, let's talk about what we both feel. Let's talk about where we're in alignment, where we do know we have similar situations. And then also what's beautiful in there is it opens up the room for more colors, more variation. Yes, we both love blue, but what shade of blue is your favorite? And so it takes beyond just what I think and feel and know. It's wild to me that people don't recognize If I hold only to my thoughts, oh my goodness, I'm never going to learn. It's when I open myself up to, well, what do you believe and know that I don't? That it increases my possibility for choice. I might not take anything that you believe or say, but at least I've explored it. And then that helps me know that I really do believe what I believe.
Yeah.
I like
or you may
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just thinking, you said you might not take any, but I'm thinking you may take part. Sometimes in dialogue, I find myself, they'll say something that, is impactful, that rings true to me. And it, kind of reshapes what I believe a little bit, but doesn't completely change it necessarily.
Well, and sometimes it's not the topic, which is what we get so caught up on, but it's my awareness of you. How do you feel? How do you think? That's going to help me. Because if I know you have a kind heart toward, let's say, animals, and I know that, then that's a place I can respect you. That's a place I can applaud you. That's a place I can encourage you. And so when we move beyond, you've got to believe what I believe, and really move into, I'm curious about how you put the world together for you and what is important to you and where do you struggle, then I've got places where I can see how I can support you more so. Or maybe where we've got a giftedness that the other one doesn't have. I remember there was a time I'm a widow, but I remember there was a time I asked my late husband how he would have responded to a situation. And he was doing it in his way. And very quickly it was like, oh no, this is completely wrong. And I would never do this. And I thought, Heather, zip your mouth. You asked him, sit back and listen, which I hate to say was not my normal way. But it was this time. I never would have responded the way he did, ever. But I waited and I finished. When he finished, I said, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I learned so much. And he goes, are you going to use it? And I said, I am 100% going to use it. I didn't use it in that situation, but I really understood, at least as much more so, how my husband put things together. And that helped me then further in our communication. So whatever you're getting, whatever's coming toward you, there's a place of you using it to help you, either with the concept, your feelings, the relationship. It's all a gift if we allow it to be. Some places are just a little harder to accept, which is important for us to then look at.
Yeah. And I love too that you're emphasizing the need to listen, because I know I'm an interrupter. Like I just interrupted you, but I warned you before you came on that I do that, but it's just to enhance what you're saying. I'm really interested and in agreement, but I have to catch myself from doing that with other people because I'm so anxious to jump in with my perspective. And I find too that a lot of times they start out with something I know, but if I could just be quiet and focus and listen, they'll get to the part that I don't know. And so that's been exciting for me. As simple as it sounds, is if I can just be still and listen long enough, there's something to be learned. And I love learning.
I will be your
Reframe Queen.
I will be your sister in that, because it's an area that I know I am to learn and grow in as well.
Well, the experience with your parent and what you learned from it and the investment you made in becoming an expert in this area has impacted how you view communication. In fact, you said to me when we spoke earlier that we do communication backwards. How so?
Well, we start with words. When you think about it, a baby learns how to say words, and then very quickly we're applauding them on what they say. And it's kind of gobbledygook in the beginning. I don't think we really ever, at least in my experience, talk about the importance and the art of communication. I think communication can be a love letter if you let it be, but we rely on the words, and words are beautiful. I'm a writer, I'm a poet, but words are created to define. They're not the essence of what it is. I'm trying to describe something with words. So the essence is the feeling or the thought. So to me, if you look at that, well, there's a piece that's more important then. And that is, how do I engage with you? And how do I feel about you? And if I choose to start with compassion, I want this conversation to go well. I want to learn from you. I want to grow from you. I want to know the ways that you're asking me to respect you. Now we have compassion. Then we start to have connection, which creates agreements like, oh, I'm a little careful. I tend to interrupt. Good for me to know. You tend to interrupt. Good. It's mutuality there. Let's help each other with that. We've got an agreement now. So knowing that, let's just go off of that. We both tend to interrupt. Knowing that, now if it happens, instead of me kind of going, oh, gosh, that was so rude, in my head I'll be like, oh no, Dr. Mo, I do that too. Or if I do it to you, oh shoot, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. We have a place to help each other in a place that we struggle in. So then the words come last. So if you start with compassion, create a connection, then you move into the conversation. And then it's very different. And it came from a moment that happened when I was 12. There were helicopters flying over the house. My mom thought they were coming to get her. She was in her psychosis. My dad did what most of us would do. Ginny, you're crazy. It's all in your head. They're not coming to get you. And she's grumbling in the corner, scared to death. I thought, Dad's words are not soothing her. I'm 12. Like, what does she need? I grabbed my little blue blankie, Bambi, threw it over her head, and I just said, they're not going to get you, Mommy. They're not going to get you.
Oh, how sweet.
It was a really sweet moment. And she stopped shaking, and she finally came out, and she looked up at me, and her eyes seemed to say, you believe me. And I didn't. But there was this really profound connection between the two of us where I knew she needed to be believed. And I was able to believe she believed her psychosis. I didn't have to believe it. And it was this glorious moment, in my opinion, from God saying, Heather, this is really important. My brain and my heart just kind of went, whoa! And I thought, there's something so profound here. I'm loving her. I'm caring for her. I'm trying to connect with her. Though what we think and believe is completely different.
Right.
But if I don't challenge it and I let her have her belief and she and I have mine, we eventually were able to come back into a place together. And that just showed me challenging the other on their reality, challenging the other on their belief, in my opinion, doesn't work. Love them for where they are. Try to find out what they need from you. And then from there, in that compassionate place, gosh, Dr. Mo, I tend to interrupt. Could you help me with that? That's going to be a better place of working with the other. And so then you start to see your partner, your friend, your boss as a supporter, as an encourager, instead of the person you're against. And our challenge in communication is I see you as being different. I see you as feeling different. You don't think the way I think. And I push against or I pull back. Instead, I did the exact opposite with my mom. I just asked myself, what does she need? She needed safety. She needed love. And so to me in communication, we all need love. We all
absolutely do. And that compassion. You know what? It's weird as you were saying that. I had a flashback to something that happened probably 30 years ago. Heather, I'm not kidding. I hadn't thought about it and I don't know when, but a bunch of couples had gone out to a haunted house. And I'm a writer also. I write fiction. I have always had this ridiculously vivid imagination and things just feel real to me. So we're going through this haunted house and it was a really good one. These zombies and crazy people with saws were coming out and I was losing my mind. It was not the place for me to be. I was so afraid. I was terrified. And I was trying to hang on to the person I was with. Like I needed some comfort, and he's like, oh, quit acting silly. You're being stupid. This is nothing. These people aren't going to hurt you. And I mean, we got out and I couldn't even myself understand why I was so mad about that, because academically I knew they weren't going to hurt me, but it felt so real in the moment. And I was mad for days. And as I listened to what you're saying, I guess what I just needed was, that little bit of compassion and understanding. We both know this is not real, but I see it's frightening you. And
Right.
that would make
Sure.
all the difference. Yeah.
Think about your child running into your bedroom and they've had a nightmare.
Yeah. The monsters under my bed.
What's the first thing you do? Not, oh, don't be stupid. There are no, oh, honey, come here. You hold
Mhm.
them. You hug them.
Yeah.
You comfort them. You don't have to say, yes, the guy with the axe was trying to kill you, Dr. Bo. Like, you don't have to go to there, but just like, oh, you're scared. And think
Yeah.
about it. Like some big, strong man. Like, what a foolish guy. He could have wrapped you up in his big arms and you could have said, oh, I feel so safe. And he would have felt all manly. And he would have known, okay, so if I want her to cuddle up on me, I take her to horror houses. But, here you go. Every moment needs more love. Every situation, every challenge in this world, I believe, is because there's not enough love for myself, for you, for the situation. I had a moment that was precious to me. I was I think I was just starting my master's program. And I was at the market and there was this young boy screaming at the top of his lungs. And the mom was just spent. She was done. She was saying horrible things like, shut up, or I'll give you something to cry about. Or if you don't stop crying, I'm not going to give you that candy. And I wasn't saying anything, but in my head, I was literally thinking, gosh, it's so good I'm becoming a therapist because I can help that woman so much because she's doing something. Being a mother. Yes, I did say that, Dr.
You wanted to give her a card.
Thank God I wasn't licensed yet because I should have burned it at that point. So I'm paying and my head's going. The man behind me, I swear it was Jesus. The man behind me said, I could not even turn around, with this beautiful, beautiful, rich mahogany voice. I wonder what is hurting that child so deeply that he's protesting so much.
Wow.
And my heart just went, and I paid my money to the teller and I walked out with my head in shame, got in my car, and I thought, what's wrong with you? You've been hurt. You've been abandoned. You've been abused. And I had truly no compassion for that little boy, no compassion for that poor mother who didn't know what the heck to do. Who knows what was going on in her life? And I swore.
Well, they've been going out with that kid all day because as parents, we know sometimes that's the final straw in a full day of just acting up and we just lost it. Yeah.
I saw a thing on TikTok that was a kid totally tantruming on the floor in a market. And there were people watching and the mother was just standing there and it said, best birth control method ever. And I went, yes, Lord. But that moment was gold for me because I realized, and I think I'm a compassionate person, but I'm like, Heather, you've got to look at anger, hurt, attacking, abuse differently. Is it acceptable? No. Do we just say it's all right and allow it? No. Should there be repercussions? 100%. And there's a very important place to realize for some reason that person has been really, really hurt. I'm not saying that lets what they've done be okay. It doesn't. Right. We must be held accountable for our actions and our behaviors. And there's a place to say what's gone really wrong in this person's life. And that changed me because now they're not just an offender or they're just an attacker. There's that place of wondering, okay, this person really needs a lot of support and a lot of help because clearly they're thinking this is what you do. That just comes out of a complete lack of love, a lack of respect for another human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's continue down this road. You had mentioned that there are 5 crucial aspects to communication. Can you share those with us, 2 or 3 or all 5, depending on how much you want to elaborate? But I think that's an important thing to learn.
Well, honesty is number 1. And it's so silly that we lie because then you don't even have a real relationship with the person. You don't have their truth and it just doesn't work. You know, we do it because we want the person to like us or we don't want them to be angry, but you just go down a bad path, which then leads to authenticity. You know, are you really who you say you are? Are you someone who stands up with your character and with your integrity? Does someone really know who you are? Curiosity is vital, and it is so sorely missing in our society. Like, why
Hello.
would you think that? What do you believe? We're so egotistical that we're like, my way's my way. This is what it is. I don't care what you think. It doesn't matter. You're foolish. You're dumb. I've done my research. It's like, oh my gosh, if we could realize how limiting that is, if I open myself up to listen. Simon Sinek said something that was brilliant. He said, in a board meeting, when do you speak? Okay, so because I'm an interrupter, pretty early on, right? Hands up, ask me. And he then said, laugh. And I went, dang, why? And this is what he said. Brilliant. He said, because you show every person in that room that you care about their opinion more than yours.
And I want to add to that. I believe he said as the leader or the facilitator of the meeting, you speak last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still,
but
super.
Oh, I totally agree with it. It's great advice. He's dope, as the young people say. But I think I learned that from him, because I would tend to go into meetings and put out what I thought and then ask everybody for their opinion. Well, I'm the director. I'm the manager. I'm the owner of the practice. I'm the leader. Well, okay, we think what you think.
There's also the place where he went on to say, then you know everyone's opinion. And my brain went to, oh, this is glorious. If I know what you all desire and I want to find a way to come to a solution, I'm a sharp cookie. So if I wait toward the end, I can say 70% of you think that the most important thing is that we create safety here. So that is our number one situation. We got 25 people who are really concerned about the financial cost of that. So we're going to have to figure out the barometer, but I want to make certain we address both. If I go early, I'm probably going to say safety. And then someone else is going to say money. And then somebody else is going to say time. And so there's these little pieces. But when you give yourself the opportunity to know more, you can kind of be the weaver to pull it all together. And I had somebody say to me, well, isn't that kind of manipulative? And I said, oh, isn't that a fascinating response? You think listening to everybody and trying to attend to everybody and bring it together with complementary is manipulation? And the person went, wow, what am I thinking? And I'm like, I don't know. I think that's beautiful. I wish I had bosses that did that.
Yeah, it's input, engagement, and then to give them credit, which we can do personally in conversations, give people credit for their ideas and contributions. And that's also lacking in our communication with others.
The last of the 5 is love. A conversation with love is a completely different conversation. So I just tell my clients, start with, our relationship is so important to me. I care about you deeply. I want this to go well for both of us. You know, where are we trying to go? What are some of the things we need to figure out to try to help us get there? What are our parameters? But I want you to know at some point, the energy shifts, the thought frame shifts where you're concerned, worried, angry, fearful. Let's stop, because you are more important to me than this topic. It's a different conversation.
That's really good. That's beautiful. I can see that would be a different conversation. So we're talking about starting the conversation with love and kindness and compassion, listening completely, being open. But if things aren't going well, feelings of tension is high, emotions get out of hand, how do you end a verbal fight quickly and harmlessly as possible?
Well, to me, that's something that I work with clients on a lot, is pacing. And so when one person starts to realize, okay, I'm shutting down, or I'm starting to listen to you critically, or I'm starting to get scared, I have an agreement with my clients that if they can say that, they're going to say that. If they can't, we come up with a phrase to use. It might be like jelly roll or porcupine. and they throw out that phrase, which basically means like, I'm in a tough place. I need to not continue because I'm not going to probably continue well. Give me just a couple of minutes. I'm going to go to the other room, get out of this energetic state that I'm in, and then be able to come back. When we start to get angry, frustrated, irritated, it's a mask for either fear or hurt. But we feel stronger in anger than we feel in fear. So a lot of us go there. If you let yourself get below the anger, you're going to find it's either going to be fear or hurt. If you're someone who veers more so toward fear and depression, because we tend to either be more angry, powerful and strong, and I'm coming at you, or we go within and like, you don't love me and I don't have any value. Then there's the place, once again, of, well, where have you been hurt or where are you scared to help you rise up? You come back and say, thank you for giving me a break. I was shutting down, was having a hard time listening to, could you say that again? I got a little lost there. What I'll ask a lot is, could you help me understand what your intent is there? Like if somebody says to me, that's a stupid question. I'd say, could you help me understand like how it is that you see it that way? I wasn't aware that it was. To me, there was some knowledge there. Can we talk about that? Here's a nugget. This is from my book, Speaking with the Heart, but it's such a good nugget. When someone gives an insult, like, that's a stupid question, before you lash back, which most of us will do, or think horribly on the person, throw only in your head, do not say this out loud, for you. That's a stupid question. For you. I have now made it an opinion. What's wild about our mind is when someone says something that is tied to us, we believe we believe the statement is a fact, like they're making it a fact. That's a stupid question. That's an opinion. But in my head, I hear it as it's factual. And then I get defensive and then I get angry and then I fight back. It's just their opinion. You think it's a stupid question? Okay. Maybe I want to pursue this with you. Maybe I don't. So there's places of walking through that conversation differently and realizing where you're starting to have a difficult time, where you're starting to pull back and to own it. I just say, give me a moment, and I'll close my eyes and I'll think, okay, you're getting mad. Like, what's going on that you're getting mad? You don't feel like you're being respected in the way you're being talked to right now. And then I'll come back and I'll say, okay, I just want to share something with you. I need to have this conversation go a little bit more gently and kindly because my feathers are getting a little ruffled right here. And I don't want that to deter from us being able to go through this. So could we speak a little bit more kindly to each other? And most people are like, yeah. I had an amazing awareness with my daughter one time where she was really mad at me. She needed to get a vaccine to go to India. This was before COVID years ago. And I told her to go to our doctor and it was free with our insurance. And, she's a sweet young girl. She didn't listen. She ends up at the free clinic. She's calling me and it's $300. And I'm like, no, it's free. She's like, no, Mom, I'm at the free clinic. And it's $300. I'm like, well, never mind. Why at the free clinic? How the hell is that free?
Free. And it's not free
at all. I said, baby, that's why I pay for medical insurance. You're supposed to go to Memorial Care. She goes, fine, I'll go. I'm like, well, no, you don't have an appointment. Stay at the free clinic, charge the $300. It'll be okay. And then I said to her, I'm sorry you're so frustrated. And then she said to me, I love her so much. I wasn't until I got on the phone with you.
Wow.
Yep. And I went,
wow. To get $300 from me. I love you. She had to be a teenager. Oh my goodness. Those jokers. Woo!
I'm getting off the phone. We'll talk about this when you get home. So I processed it through the day and I'm like, she's a teenager. She didn't know. She doesn't like to waste my money at all. I'm a widow. So she's very careful of that. She felt guilty. She was frustrated. She doesn't understand vaccine, blah, 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 blah. So she comes home that night. I'm in a great space. Like, I can't wait to have this lovely night. She's going to India soon. It's going to be amazing. She comes in, she's mad. And she's like, you didn't tell me, and I didn't know, and How am I supposed to know this stuff? And I said to her, baby, take a look at you and take a look at me. We're in completely different realities. What do you mean? What do you mean we're in different realities? I'm like, feel your energy and feel mine. In my reality, we're all good. She goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, in your reality, we're going to be fighting. My reality, I'm going to be hugging you and we're going to have a lovely night. So you've got a choice to make. You can join me in mine, which I hope you will.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, I'm not joining you in yours. And she said, Mom, what's going on? I'm like, I've just realized something. There are multiple realities going on all the time, and we choose the one we pursue. I'm just 100% not gonna pursue yours because I don't like it. And she said, can I really join yours? And I'm like, right here, baby. She laid on my chest and she looked at me, tears in her eyes, and she goes, Mom, this is magic. I'm like, this is what the choice of free will is. This is the choice of love. This is the choice. It's a perfect reframe. Do I go on, resentment, anger, frustration, or do I go on, it's all done. It's like, I'm going to pay $300. Like, why moan about it? And I have used that forever since then, but with clients and say, like, there's a choice. If energetically the person's coming at you lower or harsher or crueler than where you are, take a deep breath and say, I don't have to join there. I don't. The other person might only lift up a little, but it's not going to get worse. We don't take responsibility for that. And so then we jump down into, I did too tell you, and I told you to call Memorial Care, and you're throwing away my money, and you don't even care, and you're a foolish, and look what I pay for, and look what I pay for, and look what I pay for. All the gobbledygook that we do. And instead, I just saw, like, I don't have to do this. We get to decide how we choose to think and feel and the actions that we take. And if I rise up, you might not join me there, but I can stay there. And then it's your opinion. Then it's your thought. Then it's your feeling. It's not my truth. And that gives you an opportunity to stay in love. That gives you an opportunity to stay in respect. That gives you an opportunity to be a change maker. Reframing allows you to be a change maker for yourself and for others. Glorious. Light or dark, good or bad, evil or holy. It's up to you.
Up to you. Remembering we have choices. Things don't just happen. We have choices. That's great. And so important for those personal relationships at home, because that's where no one can make you mad, or your kids or significant other. And to be able to reframe, as you say, and put yourself in their shoes, or at least be open to the possibility that they have some germane, pertinent thoughts as well. This has been so great. I've learned a lot here today. My final question for you, Heather, we're running out of time. I'm going to have you back because this has been so enlightening. My final question is, how do we love ourselves and others deeper?
So this is an interesting place, because as soon as you say you need to love yourself more, don't we all fall into those places where you say, well, I need to lose 15 pounds and, one eye is smaller than the other. We immediately go to what's wrong, don't we? And
we do.
Loving ourselves is hard. And I thought, well, why is that? So here's like this brilliant truth. It's because the focus is the self. Love, the focus isn't the self. Love is the focus of all. And so if we want to love others more, if we want to love ourselves more, the focus turns into, okay, where am I aware of love in my body? Where am I aware of love outside? Where am I aware of love coming through me and into me? And how can I rev that up to go into the place of loving other or self? The answer is love. So help yourself. Cultivate that. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so appreciated. I'm so protected. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for this day. Oh my goodness. And then now, if you say to me, well, Heather, your thighs are a little bit big, I'm going to say, yep, okay, but oh my gosh, Mo, you've got like the most beautiful smile in the whole wide world, because I'm now not important. And when I'm not really important, I mean, it's not that I don't care about me, but when the focus is at me, then my focus is love. And the key to loving another or ourselves is focusing on that. And so all day long, I'm in that. I look at a tree and the leaves are glistening beautiful. I'm like, oh God, thank you for letting me see that light on that tree. Last night I heard a fountain going and I'm like, oh, thank you that I can hear this beautiful music of water dripping and dancing.
Yeah, I do that.
A love affair with the world, which then you become a part of. And then this is the beauty. Then we go back to that little child who had such wonder, such magic, such imagination before we made us all so like important and adult and we're, all the way.
Yeah.
If we keep ourselves in that joy and that lightness, it says, that God wants us to come to him like children. Why? Because we're in delight. We're in love. We're in joy. We're in magic. We're in awe. We're in wonder. That's when you're in love, which is the process of being here. I want to get to the last day of my life. And when God says to me, what'd you think? I want to say, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You gave me life. Thank you. Let me be Heather. Like I was cool chick as Heather. And then he's going to say, did you do everything you wanted? I'm like, oh, not even close. Not even close. But I had a beautiful time loving people. I had a beautiful time being loved. Thank you.
That's going to make God smile. That's going to make God smile.
Me.
Gratefulness.
Gift. We get to live. So many people don't. My mom's not here. My dad's not here. My husband's not here. I mean, we all lose a ton of people, but we're still here. And so there's that place of in what ways can you feel love and be delighted and be of joy today? You got to deal with the realities. And there's a lot of horrible realities, but there's the place of how do I help myself with this? Work with a lot of cancer patients. None of them have ever said that they're grateful for cancer. Not one. Not one has ever said, I'm so glad I had it. But every single one said, I would not change what I learned through this. And that's the key to life. We don't like a lot of stuff that goes on. But who are you through it and because of it? What do you choose to let that be? The statement of who you are.
Fantastic. That's it. Before we sign off, share with listeners more about the services you offer and how they can connect with you online.
Love to. Thank you. So obviously psychotherapy, coaching. I have some intensive workshops. I have my TEDx on my website. My book, Speaking with the Heart, is on my website. I have blogs. I'm on all the social medias. So there's a lot of ways where you can get a lot more of Dr. Heather if you want me. The book is also, of course, on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, Speaking with the Heart by Dr. Heather Browne. And then probably the easiest way is my website, which is www.drheatherbrowne.com, Dr. Heather Browne. And there's a whole page of freebies. So if you're somebody who likes wonderful freebies, go on my website, sign up for them all. I'm happy to share what I could share. And if you have questions that pop up, feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to try to direct people in ways that I know.
Nice.
And I'm just grateful for this time with you.
And I am as well. Thank you so much, Heather. And thank you, listeners, for your time and support of this woman-owned indie podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and share for more like this. Until next time, be safe and be well. And wasn't that a great program? Oh, love that episode. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Learn more about me on my website, drmoanderson.com. That's MOE. You can read book excerpts, watch videos, learn about my services that I offer, and book me for a speaking engagement. I'd love to talk with your group, and I'd love to work with you. So until the next time, review, renew, and renew. Thank you.